Cameras rolling, both cameras are rolling.
Perfect.
Sorry about that.
No, you're good, man.
I gotta collect myself. So,
Yep. No, I appreciate you coming out.
yes, sir. RJ again, brother. Thank you
Austin.
for Mr. Austin. Bear with me, a little tidbit about me. You probably wouldn't believe it because of the interview I just did, but I have like social anxiety, so I stutter over my words. My
No, you're
brain
good.
works really, really fast, so I will try to slow it down.
Yep.
But with that being said, and anybody I've interviewed, anybody I brought to the channel, I want to say one, thank you. Shout out to Carolina Performance. Shout out to Cole. Again, everything. Most of my guests that have come to my channel, whether they told whatever their story is in fitness, martial arts,
Yep.
all of it happened through networking. And Cole is part of a very, very, I'll say powerful community because of the people he knows. So that's why I like to give him his grace in the beginning of this interview. But other than that, this is how I start my interviews. Please introduce yourself.
All right.
I go off flowing energy. I don't have
Yeah.
flashcards
No,
or
you're good,
anything.
brother.
But please introduce yourself
Yep.
and we'll go from there, sir.
Good deal. So my name is Austin Avera. Been competing in jiu-jitsu and martial arts for about 16, 17 years now.
Oh, Lord
Yep.
Jesus, okay.
First degree black belt under Michael Sergi down in Savannah, Georgia. Always been into fitness, martial arts, fighting, all kinds of stuff, right? As a child, I grew up watching WWE, Power Rangers.
Who's your favorite wrestling
Stone
kid?
Cold.
Hey,
Stone Cold,
open a
of
can of
course.
whoop
You know what I'm
ass.
saying?
I
That's what I'm
got it.
saying.
All right.
So started off watching, WWE, Power Rangers, of course, OG Power Rangers, and always just wanted to be able to do that and kick some ass. So
Say less. So
started
here we
lifting.
are.
Yep.
Yeah.
Started lifting. Started training. Learned how to fight. Stuck with it, and perseverance is a thing. So now we're here.
So allow me to ask this. I'd like to speak on the powerlifting. I know it was conversation offline, but so you haven't competed, right?
Yeah, never competed.
So what made you choose the realm of powerlifting? You got bodybuilding,
Yep.
strongman. So
Yep.
what stuck out about powerlifting where you said I want to be trained the powerlifting regime?
Yeah, so I always wanted to be as strong as I could be. Once again, we're going back. Obviously, I grew up in the '90s, so obviously we're going back to '90s era generation.
Okay.
World's Strongest Man's on TV. I see the strongest men in the world are 340 pounds, 400 pounds,
Okay.
6'5", and they're deadlifting, they're squatting, benching. So I was like, I might as well do that.
What's your favorite lift? What's your favorite lift out of the squat, the bench,
Favorite
and the
lift's
deadlift?
deadlift for sure.
Oh, for
Yeah,
real?
yeah, for sure.
What are your numbers?
700 deadlift. Yeah.
And you haven't competed?
No.
What? What is your bench and your squat?
My bench is probably 395 right now.
Okay.
Bench is my weakest lift of all lifts, and then
That's still a heavy
Yeah.
ass number, but yeah.
and then my squat is in the low sixes.
So, and you never just wanted. I'm asking,
No.
but you never
Yeah.
had the. You just knew the martial arts was for
Yeah.
me. Not.
Yeah.
Do you ever plan on getting on the platform, or you just
I'm not
strictly
sure.
want to stay in martial
Yeah,
arts?
I'm not sure because obviously martial arts takes a lot of my time.
Okay.
And I feel like when you're committed to one thing and that's the thing you're doing,
Okay.
it's always going to subtract from the other stuff. Right?
Okay.
So the strength training is always going to take a hit from the the grappling and the sparring.
Okay.
So you got a little bit of capacity for how much training you can do, and I'm always going to have that love for going hard with training in jiu-jitsu and MMA, and I feel like that's going to always take away a little bit from my lifting.
If I may briefly, curiosity. Thank you for your service. I know you didn't
I
mention
appreciate
that, but thank you for your service on that. But does the Army kind of get in the military? Does it get in the way of your training regimes at times?
I wouldn't say it gets in the way. You definitely have to be conscious of it, for
Okay.
sure, right? Because you're going to be working. There's going to be times when you're in the field. There's going to be times where sometimes things take a little bit of a backseat, but for the most part, I've been able to either abbreviate some workouts,
Okay.
abbreviate some training, and be able to give both things my honest effort, for sure.
Roger that. So if you mentioned this in the beginning, forgive me, attention span of a squirrel. So what martial art do you train, sir?
So I'm a black belt, first degree black belt.
You did say
in
that.
Brazilian
Okay.
Jiu-Jitsu.
Okay,
Yep.
okay. Let me. I'm
Yep.
tired, y'all.
No,
Y'all
you're
forgive
good.
me. Y'all forgive me. So with jiu-jitsu, how about this? What made you choose that martial art out of the other martial arts out there?
UFC 1, Hoist Gracie choking out everybody. You know what I mean?
Allow me to ask you this: how UFC is today? Do you feel like it's better and worse? And the only reason I ask that, apparently weight classes didn't become a thing until what, the late 2000s?
Yeah, it's been some time now. There's obviously fewer weight classes in the past, and then the original tournament started with no weight classes. Definitely plays a role in the sport. However, I think more weight classes, more competition is a good thing for the sport for sure. And obviously, the athletes now are, you know, leaps and bounds athletically and performance-wise, and just you have to have that starting point in order to get to where we are now. Obviously, everything now is elevated, but if you didn't have those like pioneers, then you'd never be where we are today. It's the same with life.
Jules, let me stop. So, my bad. When you first started training in jiu-jitsu, like what did you have an expectation for it? Like what perception versus reality of jiu-jitsu? So when you went into jiu-jitsu, what was the reality of it versus the perception when you first went into that training regime?
The reality of it is you're gonna get choked out a lot.
Oh wow,
You're gonna get
okay.
beat up a lot. But you gotta, like I said, perseverance. You gotta push through that stuff.
So
It's gonna be a hard start. Not a lot of, no one's there to hurt you and no one's there to like beat you up, but the ego does have to take a hit in the beginning, right?
so everybody does it's probably like that for every martial art, but
Absolutely.
like everybody approaches that
Yeah.
martial art with
If you got a little bit of if you have a little bit of hot-headed, when I was 16, I had a hot head, right?
okay.
You walk in the gym, you're like, these dudes aren't gonna be able to
Do
hold
anything
stuff
to
to me,
it,
you know what I
okay,
mean?
yeah.
And then it's like, you learn quickly that that's not the case, right?
So what is your favorite move in jiu-jitsu? Is it a full body choke? Is it the arm bar? Is it the leg? Yeah.
I like to get random, like, mother's milk submissions. I don't know if you ever heard of that.
I haven't.
Yeah,
Please
it's not.
educate me. Yeah, yeah. Oh
So
Lord.
these are like just some other chokes. They're embarrassing to get caught in, but I like to do them. You know what I mean?
A humbling
Yeah,
move out of
humbling
it.
move,
Oh
exactly,
Lord. So when do you decide to break that out? Do you break that out on
No, not on
somebody?
day one. Not on day one.
Okay, just
you
making
got
sure.
you got to let them get some confidence up, and then you.
Oh,
give
then
'em a
you
little bit
crush
of
it.
that.
You
Yeah.
just now, let me stop. So 16 years, man. So that.
Yeah, 2007 ish.
So is that again? If you answer this, forgive me. Is that something you personally wanted, or did your parents also kind of?
No, this was just something I gravitated towards,
Okay.
just in the culture, right? Growing up, like I said, in the '90s, I grew up in the '90s. A lot of like action stars, a lot of WWF was big. Grew up watching Dragon Ball Z, Power Rangers, all that stuff was big. I wanted to be. I look at life like video game. Life's like a TV show, something like that. And if you're gonna be that character and you're gonna be that thing, then you gotta commit to it, and you gotta acquire the skills and
You
acquire
wanted to
the
be a
life.
superhero
Exactly.
so bad.
Exactly.
Yeah, all of us did.
So
I'm
if you-
interviewing a
yeah.
superhero, y'all. Yeah.
So when you see that, it's like, okay, what did Batman do? What did Stone Cold do? They lifted weights, they trained, they learned how to fight. Now they're who they are.
My audience, because it consists of a lot of fitness influencers, but also anime nerds like
Yep.
myself and all that. So they're gonna be, oh,
Yeah.
but no. So my bad. But bringing it full circle for to you in your training regime, like, so you've been doing this for 16 years. What I'm gonna go ahead and ask this now. So what are some obstacles that you faced? Because you've been doing this for 16 years, right? And anything you do, we all, there's an obstacle, a stepping stone. What were some of the things that you faced in this regime?
Yeah, it hasn't been easy. Life. Have 3 kids. So I have a 10-year-old, 7 and a 6-year-old. Giving them my time is one of my primary concerns. I did 2-year stint as a drill sergeant. Took
Oh
away-
yeah, on
those
that
are-
trail.
yep,
Hell no.
yep.
Okay.
16, 17-hour days, All those things have taken me away from the mats in some form or fashion. And it's just being able to, hey, maybe this week is maybe a 2-day training week, you know what I mean? Maybe I'm only gonna get to train 2 days this week. And it's just allocating that time, allocating those resources, get a session in here and there.
Did-
But I've
How-
always stayed involved throughout my life.
How mentally demanding would you say jiu-jitsu is? Or how about, you know what, that's not fair. How mentally demanding do you believe martial arts is for us as human beings?
If you love it, I would say it's actually, it helps you mentally, right? It's not, I wouldn't say mentally demanding if it's something that you love to do.
Okay.
It's the same as going to the gym. You go to the gym, you look like you lift. that's like a break from
I
life.
sure appreciate
Yeah,
you. Yeah,
yeah.
no, stop. Yeah.
So that's like a break from life. Yeah.
Superhero said I look like I live. No, let me stop. Yeah, yeah.
But that's like your time. That's your like alone time. So in that sense, it's not mentally demanding. What's more mentally demanding is the obstacles that keep you away from the training that don't let you stick to what you wanted to do. You know what I mean?
Has there ever been a time you just wanted to give up on martial arts at all?
No, I couldn't.
You love it that
Yeah,
much, huh?
I couldn't.
So, in your training, you know what? I'm gonna bring it back to that. Your first time on the mat, in training, like, and I know you said you know, you got your realization got choked out and all that, but like, from your first time on the mat and training, like, what did you gain from that? And the only reason I ask that, a lot of people, they know whether they get in the ring the first time, the mat or the cage, they know, hey, this isn't something I want to do or stick with. Like, what did you gain out of that your first time?
Humility.
Humility,
Yep. Humility.
humbleness.
Yep.
Okay.
Getting humbled and knowing that you're not the toughest person on the planet. You're not the toughest person in your town. And then that's a stepping stone because if that's achievable by someone else, then I know that I could achieve that as well.
Okay.
So the person who humbled me, I could eventually even get to that person's status or even maybe potentially surpass that status, right?
So your first time actually in a competition, like, did you still get the jitters like you did in training? Like, how long did you train for before your first actual comp?
I would say it was probably around a year that I had trained before I actually competed.
So 17 years old. Is that something you decided, or is that something your sensei decided?
No, I thought it was time.
You just thought it was
Yeah.
time? All right. So when you went in on the mat and well, sorry, in your first did you win? But anyway,
Yeah, I won.
So what sense of pride did you get from that? All that training that you did, all that hard work, like,
No, it was
and I'm
cool.
pretty sure the win contributing for you to want to continue
Yeah.
doing it too,
Yeah,
right?
of course, yeah.
Okay.
No, it was cool, but I just wanted to do more.
Just wanted to do more?
I wanted to do more.
So martial arts just seems pretty simple.
Yeah.
Is it because you're proficient at it? Because it comes off. I'm asking. Like,
Yeah.
all right. So
I think it's just all time in, right? It's like anything else. The more time you devote to something, then the better you're going to get at it.
So allow me. So I just learned this recently in the previous interview that I just did. You know, shout out to Mr. Vinny, of course. But the traditional style of jiu-jitsu versus the new style of jiu-jitsu. What is your personal take on that? So you know the difference.
Yep.
Okay. See, I gotta explain. So what is your personal take on that?
So a lot of traditional jiu-jitsu was with the gi primarily. That's a big aspect of jiu-jitsu, and I think traditionally we shouldn't lose sight of that.
Okay.
Right? I feel like that's deep roots. You got to have that, and you got to have like a lineage and tradition. But in my personal preference, no gi is a lot more active,
Okay.
faster paced, and a lot of more entertainment value. And then it's also, I don't want to say applicable, but it is applicable to a real fight. It's applicable to mixed martial arts, which,
Versus the traditional?
yeah, I think it's more applicable.
Okay. Yeah.
For the instance of most people are not wearing like a full
suit, yeah,
you know what I
okay.
mean, suit and tie. There are those aspects of self-defense where the gi could be used as like a coat, jacket, or your tie. However, if you're in shorts and t-shirt, we're in North Carolina, so a lot of people were just wearing shorts and a t-shirt. I mean, it's 40 degrees outside, and I'm dressed like this, so
Say less. Say less.
it's just more applicable to that.
So has there ever, and if you don't want to speak on it, I understand, but like, I'm curious how proficient you are. Have you ever had to use it outside self-defense? Have you actually ever had to use it in self-defense?
Yeah, quite a few times.
So he was fighting a superhero. No, I'm sorry. So with that being said, because again, in every setting it's different. Fighting in training, fighting at a comp, and
Absolutely.
fighting to defend yourself.
Yep.
Like, did you remember all your fundamentals, or was your adrenaline just in the self-defense aspect? Like, obviously still here, so a
Yeah.
guy was in for rude awakening.
Yeah.
But like, did your mind go blank in that sense because you were defending yourself versus you would on the mat or in training?
No, it almost is actually the opposite. Everything kind of slows down because countless times you've been in those situations, those scenarios, like in training or on the mat, and when you this is something I should say because you should not do this stuff in the streets, right? Because you never know who's on the other side.
Yes, sir.
100%, the person on the other side could be 10 times better than you ever imagined, right? So, but in the event, I'm lucky enough to have never come across someone who was better than me.
I sure as fuck
But-
hope not. That's a super villain at that point. I'm not understand. Yeah.
But when you like lock horns with somebody or lock up with somebody who has no idea what they're doing, things actually do kind of slow down. And there is a little bit of adrenaline rush and aspect to that. But you've been in that so many times on these mats, and you've been in that so many times with your partners that things kind of slow down. You just know what to do.
So this is going to be a duh type question, but do you feel like, regardless if it's jiu-jitsu, do you feel like self-defense and martial arts is important?
Yeah,
And if I,
100%.
and if I asked that earlier, I apologize. But do you
No,
feel
yeah.
But do you feel like that's important? Like a life skill to have.
100%.
Okay.
Right.
From your perspective, as to why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 100%, every man, woman, and child should at least have the ability to protect themselves, right? You should be able to walk down the street confidently and not worry that someone's out to get you or something's going to happen. And at the bare minimum, you're going to be able to at least survive until someone can help you, right?
Okay.
I feel like it's an aspect in life. I feel like it's an aspect in just being able to take care of your family, being able to take care of your friends. Those are things that I feel are like very concrete in my values. Obviously, I shouldn't speak to other people's values, but that's what I feel very strongly about. Me, myself, I know that I'm safe when I go somewhere. My family's safe when I go somewhere. And anyone who's with me is going to be safe as well.
What are some things you like about the jiu-jitsu community as a whole?
Just tight-knit, tight-knit community. You can speak the same language. If you have time, there's always going to be someone who's willing to train with you or get some rounds in. People have different schedules, so people are always flexible to, hey, let's meet at this place this time, let's meet at that place this time, and just get together and get some rolls in.
Another duh question, but do you feel like there's a level of mental demand in jiu-jitsu? Like that there's how can I word this to make it make sense? Like out of all the martial arts, how mentally demanding would you say jiu-jitsu is? And if I ask this question, I apologize.
No, I
Yeah.
think it's honestly like a mental break. That's how I see it anyway. This might differ from personality to personality, but to me, I feel like it's like a break from everything else. You're able to devote yourself to this one thing, improving, progressing on it. I would say like strategically, you do have a little bit of more mental math to do when you're participating. But that's kind of one of the benefits because that helps you kind of release some of the tension throughout the day and forget about some of the other stuff going on throughout the day.
Not asking to start no drama or anything, just as just your perspective, your story. Do you feel like there's toxicity in the realm of jiu-jitsu, and if not, the realm of martial arts? Have you seen that before?
There may have been some drama like throughout, maybe throughout some of the years of training. Or just this, I feel like that's just when you get into business and money gets involved.
Okay.
I feel like
the human nature of
the human nature, right?
Yeah,
And it's just like any business, right? Walmart's gonna be mad at whoever because they're taking customers from them. I think that's where a lot of the politics and drama comes from martial arts, and that's just, I think, a way of life right now in our capitalist society. That's just how things are gonna be sometimes.
How would one avoid? You can't avoid something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
When you talk about money, it's money.
So, again, and I will try to make this make sense. And again, if I'm asking the same question, different format, just speak like next question. I got you. Do you feel like there's misinformation in martial arts?
I feel like nowadays you have Instagram and the social media aspect of it. Those things get smashed out like very quickly, right? So there's a couple of funny channels on YouTube, Instagram, like McDojo and all that stuff, where they out like martial arts phonies and stuff like that, which I think those.
That's
kind
a
of
good
things,
thing,
yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So all these things get snuffed out really quickly. If you don't know what you're doing, the people are going to speak to it, right? People are going to see right through someone who's not genuine, not legit, very quickly. And that's a good thing about some of the social media aspect of it. Obviously, every double-edged sword, right? Every time you get all that hate and stuff like that, things could also go the opposite way. But a lot of that things like phony stuff is getting kind of smashed out like really quickly.
So allow me to ask this. So obviously 16 years, you're a trainer, correct? So as a teacher, like what are some obstacles that you faced as a teacher in this? And allow me to, is it just jujitsu or is there other martial arts that you know?
Yeah, so we do MMA as well. So full kickboxing, boxing, jiu-jitsu, and MMA, and wrestling as well.
So with that, as a teacher and all of those, right? I wish I probably should ask that in the beginning because I could have took this in a different direction.
Yep.
Silly me. But
No
anyway,
worries.
yeah. But what are some of the obstacles you have faced as a coach, as a teacher?
I think the biggest obstacle is just knowing where to take the curriculum, because as you show up, like as a student, when you're coming up through the ranks, you show up and the teacher has a class plan and you do the class, and I really respect that from looking back on some of the instructors that I've had, because that's a big deal. Knowing what the next logical progression is in a system of teaching classes, so that everyone from the lowest level to the highest level can gain value from that class. And that's been the thing that's been the biggest struggle, is knowing when the right time to teach the right technique is to progress the students to the next level.
What do you look for in a student to let you know that they're ready for that next level?
Just, to me, toughness. I love toughness, and it's not just physical toughness. It's not physicality, anything like that. Mental toughness, dedication, and you're showing up, you're present. And present doesn't mean you're 6 classes a week, 6 days a week, every week of the month. Presence to me is you show up, you're attentive, and you ask questions if you need to, and you apply the knowledge that you're learning. That's presence, right? If you're present, you're there, you're in the moment, and you're applying the knowledge that you're receiving.
Some of the rewarding things you feel like you've gotten as a teacher.
Yeah, all the guys who win, right? One of my
Oh, you said that win?
well,
Oh yeah, so I bet
learn.
No. Hey, this is your. No, sir, forgive me. So I like that because it may or may not sound bad, but
Yeah.
but like it's. I'm speaking. This isn't his. So to me, I see that as a product, and if
Yeah.
your product wins, then you know
Yeah.
that. So, but
Yeah.
you were saying, I
For sure.
apologize. Yeah.
No, man, when we take the guys to fights and we take the guys to tournaments, they always perform well. Always perform, and that's just, it gives me a sense of pride for
Okay.
sure to see them perform well.
So if I may ask, on has anybody ever come to you and said, what do you go by? Do you go by sensei, coach,
No,
or
just Austin.
Okay, so when somebody comes to you and be like, hey, Austin or Mr. Austin, I think I'm ready to take this to the mat or whatever, like, what do you look for outside of toughness? What else do you look for you to go, okay, yeah, no, I believe you're ready for the mat? Like, what makes you say, yeah, you're ready, no, you're not ready?
You got to look at history, right?
Okay.
So, are you present? We talked about present. Presence isn't just how many days a week you show up. Presence is how in tune you are, how attentive you are to the class. Are you applying what you're learning and trying to think new ways, maybe creatively, or push things to the next level? So being present is always key, right? Not quitting. So
Okay.
you are not a person that I see who hits struggles or hits like adversity, and then, all right, I'm gonna take tonight off, or I'm gonna take the round off. No, you notice you're going through adversity right now, but you're gonna not give up. You're gonna attempt to try something new, right?
Yes, sir.
And then you're just the willingness to learn, right? You show up, you're present, you have the desire to learn, so you're asking questions, obviously. Or if you're not asking questions, I'm noticing you working through the problem set on your own, because not everybody's vocal.
Yeah.
I get that, right?
Yeah.
So some people, they hit the wall, and it's not like, hey, can you tell me how to do this? Some people hit the wall, and you see it, and you have to know that as a coach. Like, okay, I see he's having trouble. He's never going to ask me about it, but I'm going to show him something in the next round. It's like, hey, I think you should do this. And then they're applying that knowledge, right?
So as far as Carolina Performance and the great things that the vision you have for this gym, what is your overall goal? Grand opening on the second, right?
Yeah,
Second.
second.
Yeah, grand opening on the second, y'all. If you haven't signed up, please sign up like right now today. But for this gym and this community you're trying to bring in, what is your overall goal for this place?
I want this to be the premier athletic performance center for North Carolina.
Okay.
And if it can be the East Coast,
Oh, say less, say less. My bad. It's the brain fart.
Yeah.
So what are some things you like about the martial arts realm, and what are some things you dislike about it?
I love everything about martial arts.
So
I
so
mean,
there's no dislike at all?
I would, if there's nothing I would probably give, you know what I mean? I'd take all of it. Like when you say give and take, it's like I'd take all of it. I love everything that martial arts has brought to me in my life, and I feel like even some of the things that maybe not as kosher are still things that help you progress as a person and help you progress as a martial artist.
So allow me to ask this, right? Because I'm trying to keep this time
Yeah.
going. Because I'm fairly new to the realm of martial arts. My realm is fitness and cosplay, gaming, all that, sneakerhead, all that
Yeah.
other stuff. So with that being said, is there anything? Damn, forgive me, sir. This
Don't worry
working
about
through
it.
Yeah, I got you.
We'll get through it together.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you. So within jiu-jitsu, right, is there anything that's probably uncommon, a knowledge that you feel like somebody would need to know within this realm? If that makes sense. And the only reason I ask like that, a lot of people, we see things on movies, like you said, we see the guy on TV, and then we come here and that's not the case. Somebody entering jiu-jitsu, what would you say that, hey, this is something you need to know before stepping into this realm?
I think the biggest thing is just the humility thing that we touched on a little bit.
Yes, sir.
And the effort that's going to be required for you to progress in the sport, right?
I got you.
Because you're going to hit that, you're going to get that humble pie eventually, even if it's not on day one, right? We've seen it where, guys who've grappled, maybe, for instance, wrestled their whole life or are just a tough, strong guy, are going to hit that, they're eventually going to hit that wall to where they're going to get, not humiliated, humbled, gather some humility, and being able to know that when that happens, that's not a bad thing, right? Hitting that wall and being humbled is not a bad thing. It's what you do with that information now, right? Because now you have the information that, okay, yeah, this guy maybe can take me in a match or a fight. But now you have the information, you know that you can get better at this, right? There's things that you don't know yet that are on the table to learn to progress yourself as far in martial arts.
My bad, sir. I've only heard people proficient in martial arts call. Why do y'all identify it as information? The martial art itself, whether it's striking, kicking, grappling, like is it because it's learned from a manual or like again you're the
I don't think a manual could teach you any of this stuff.
but yeah why is it more identified as information than anything else?
I think that's a mindset that a lot of people in this sport have, just because you're always dissecting. It's no different than how you would study for any kind of degree. You're gathering information, process it, analyze it, and then put it into action. So I feel like that maybe that's what I mean when I say information.
I got you. Is there anybody within this realm that you feel like gives out accurate information in the realm of martial arts? Whether it's UFC, I know you got your Joe Rogan, you got your John Jones, but if somebody wanted to hear, like listen, whether it's a podcast, like who would you listen to in the realm of martial arts?
I like Rogan. Rogan's a great podcaster. Who else? There's a couple. BJJ Fanatics is a great information source for jiu-jitsu, 100%. I love Eric Paulson. He's one of my idols in the MMA and jiu-jitsu community. He always puts out good information. I would say those are probably my main go-tos. BJJ Fanatics, which is Bernardo Faria, multi-time world champion company. Eric Paulson, he owns CSW, Combat Submission Wrestling, great information source. And then, Joe Rogan as well.
If I may touch on the youngins real quick, is this a field that you would want them to go into? Since you've trained it for so long, is this something the aspect of martial arts you would want to see your children in?
100%.
Do you feel like in martial arts, the younger you start, the better? That's probably a Doug question, but You know, Lyoto Machida started when he was in his latter 30s, so
You know,
yeah.
I wouldn't say the younger the better. Now I take my kids to train twice a week.
Okay.
Because I don't want to push them.
Okay, I got you.
I never want to like, hey, this is my dream. You're going to do it.
Okay.
But I do want them, like we talked in the beginning, I do want them to feel confident when they walk down the street. No one's going to mess with me. I'm going to be happy when I walk down the street. And if anyone gives me crap, I'm going to be able to handle it. Right?
That presence in it. Superhero. Yeah, no, let me stop.
So 2 days a week, my 3 kids are training 2 days a week.
You teach
Now,
them?
yeah, I do.
I got another. I got you. I got another
Yeah.
question as you finish.
Now, if they want to do more and they're like, hey, Dad, I want to go to the gym, then they're coming to the gym. But that's their choice, right? And then the young thing, the younger the better. I don't 100% know if a younger the better is where it's at for the same reason of not getting burnt out. And this is a sport where if you're not committed to it, you're not going to get better at it. So if those kids are forced to go somewhere and they don't want to, they're not going to do what I talked about earlier, presence and wanting to get better with presence, asking questions, wanting to learn, working through the humility, and making themselves better. They're just going to show up to show up.
So as a parent, and a teacher, is it? I asked somebody else. Shout out Cabo. He trains capoeira. He teaches his sons as well. So same format that I asked him. Is it hard to separate teacher and father when training your kids?
I don't think so because I like to have fun. I like to play on the mats when it's number one. This is something I love. This is something that I know something about. So when I'm with my kids, I like to be playful with the way that we teach and the way that we learn.
Do you feel like temperament is everything, and I know you can't really the good guy or the bad guy, but do you feel like martial arts can bring out someone's true nature as far as being bad? And the only reason I ask that, I've seen not, and I'm not saying it's like that everywhere. It's just I know some people, they get proficient in a skill, whether it's boxing or whatever, and they take that out on people versus actually using it they use it to find victims, not protect themselves. Do you feel like martial arts kind of can build that bully, if that makes sense?
Well, luckily, all the experience I've had has been the opposite direction.
Okay.
Which is, getting that humility early on.
Okay.
That I feel like does get rid of a lot of that, bad actor kind of behavior. I haven't really had a lot of experience with the opposite direction though.
No, not you. Obviously, superhero, but yeah.
But people I've encountered, I haven't had that experience.
Okay.
So I don't know, I can't really speak to that because I've never seen anybody take it the other direction.
Would you say it does? I'm on, again, this question definitely did come from movies and other, but do you think something like that can happen because of human nature?
Human nature, anything's possible. We've seen that.
Okay, agreed. And forgive me. In closing, whether it's in powerlifting, martial arts here in North Carolina, is there anybody you want to give a shout out to in this interview and just say, hey, y'all contributed to what I have. Thank y'all. You know, knowledgeable. Like these are the people that help build who you are. Anybody
100%.
want to shout out?
Yeah. So number 1 and number 2, just like you already shouted out Cole, I'm gonna shout out Cole as well.
Hey.
We could not have got. So the vision for this place was athletic performance, strength training, martial arts, jiu-jitsu, MMA, all that stuff. We could not have made that link without obviously having Cole as well, right? So being able to put those two things together, athletic performance includes strength and includes what we have going on. We're able to link those two together, which is fantastic. I'm 100% excited about that. Also, Vinny Romero, my
Big
business
shout
partner.
out.
My business partner as well. Number 1, when we started this, would never have grown to what it was without Vinny, right? He's got the mind behind it. To me, you put weights, you put machines in the gym, and you put mats down. All right, we're open. Vinny knows all the other stuff you got to do, so I'm all ears for that. I'd be remiss if I didn't announce my professor, Michael Sergi, down in Savannah, Georgia.
Yes, sir.
I went all of my jiu-jitsu belts I've gotten from him, and been a huge mentor in my life. Super proud for him to have promoted me. So I'm happy for that, for sure.
Yes, sir. Sir, again, forgive my interview skills.
No, you're good.
I'm generic as it is. What
too.
they see is what they get. But thank you. And I know this was last minute. This is a lesson for me. And the only reason I say that, like, regardless if I plan an interview or not, as a content creator, I need to be ready. Allow me, if you so choose, I promise my interview skills will get better.
Yeah.
But once I get more accurate information in MMA, martial arts, the UFC, whatever,
Yep.
allow me to bring you back 6 months to a year.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have better equipment. But just allow me to bring you back. You have the knowledge base. It's just, you definitely did drop jewels in this, but you probably could have dropped more if I knew how to engage you.
Okay.
Allow me to get better at this and allow me to bring you back to my channel.
I appreciate it.
Again, thank you so
Thanks, RJ.
much for the opportunity.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
No, you did great, man.